Hello, this is Domenico with Easynomics, and this is part 3 of paper 3 practice questions with regards to tariffs. This will be linked in the video notes below to two playlists, one being the playlist for global economy. We've looked at different types of trade protections, tariffs, export subsidies, production subsidies, so you can find this practice paper 3 question in that playlist. It'll also appear in the dedicated playlist for a series of practice questions for paper 2, paper 3, in micro, macro, global economy, and also appearing some other playlists, but those are the two main ones. So let's pick up from where we left off in the second video. In the second video, we were using the trapezium formula to calculate the change in consumer surplus. These are our workings, and we're going to use the trapezium formula again for calculating the change in producer surplus. So let me get rid of these notes, and then we'll continue to question B that we see above here. This video will be focused on question B, and then the next video will be focused on question C, and then question D. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this next question. Question B, the focus for this video. Using figure 1, calculate the change. So let's get in the habit of calculating underlying what we're being asked to do. Calculate the change in producer surplus as a result of the imposition of the per unit tariff. And we have this 140% import tariff in Turkey being applied on the primary commodity of wheat. And that has raised the price from $200 per metric ton to $480 per metric ton, reducing imports. So we're focusing in this video on producer surplus. Producer surplus will have a triangular shape in this model. And that triangular shape will look something like this. We're going to follow the supply curve up to the price. And the formula for a triangle is multiplying the height of A times the length of B and dividing it by 2. So with that knowledge, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and I want you to attempt this question. Calculate the change in producer surplus. Pause the video and see if you can figure that out, and you will check your workings with my workings. So please pause the video now. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin figuring this out. Let's look at producer surplus before the imposition of the tariff. And before the tariff was applied, we would follow the supply curve. Let's go ahead and highlight this area. We would follow the supply curve up to the price, in this case of $200. And this is going to show us a small triangular area here, which is the producer surplus. All right. So what is the value of that surface area? Let's look at A. What's the height of A? The height of A in this case is 200. We can see that we're going from 0 up to $200. Very clear. Perfect. Multiplied by the base, in this case, of 2 million metric tons. 200 times 2 million. And all that divided by 2 because it is a triangle. So that's going to work out to 400 million divided by 2. And that gives us the final answer of 200 million. So the value of that producer surplus is 200 million. I'm going to highlight that as our initial producer surplus. So I'll mark that as this is the initial producer surplus. Great, so we've done that. Now let's move on to producer surplus after. What is producer surplus after the imposition of the tariff? Okay, what's that going to be equal to? So the price has gone up to 480, so we have a higher height. The height, area A, in this case, will be equal to 480. And the higher price is incentivizing producers, domestic producers, to increase their production along their supply curve to that higher price. So we're seeing that increase in the quantity of domestic production going up from 2 million to this quantity right here. We're going up by units of 0.4, so 4.4, 4.8. So this is going to be 4.8 million, which is going to be our base. So the base is 4.8 million. And then with that, I can just go ahead and plug in the numbers. So the producer surplus is going to be equal to, I'll use the same colors so we can follow this. It's going to be equal to 480 times, use red again, 4.8 million. And that would be divided by 2. So that's going to equal 480 times 4.8 million. And that works out to 2,304 million. Again, divide by 2 because it is a triangle. And so the final answer will be 1,152 million. All right, so I'm going to highlight that as my final surface area. So what is the change? We're being asked to calculate the change. So the change in the producer surplus is equal to the final value minus the initial value. So we're just going to take final. So here we see the final value is 1,152 million minus the initial of 200 million. And that works out to an increase in producer surplus. So I'll put a plus. It's increasing 952 million. So producers are better off, domestic producers are better off with the tariff. They're going to increase production and they're going to also increase their total revenue, price times quantity, 200 times 2 million, going up to $480 times 4.8 million. That's going to increase their producer surplus by $952 million. So they're clearly better off with the government intervention. Now we can squeeze in an alternative way to calculate this surface area or the change in the producer surplus, and that is going to be focusing on this shape right here, which I'm going to highlight. All right, we can see that this shape is a trapezium. This is the difference between the initial triangle and the second triangle, and we can use a trapezium formula to calculate that. So I'm going to squeeze in that. Here I'm going to show that shape. That shape is something like this. That's a trapezium. And we have the length of A over there. We have the length of B over here. And then we have the height of C. And the trapezium formula, the surface area is going to be equal to A plus B times the height of C, and all of that divided by 2. And that should be equal to 952 million. So let's plug in the numbers. So A is 4.8 million. All right, that's going to, A in this case is 4.8, 4.8. I'll put M for million plus 2B. The length of B is 2 million plus 2 M for million. Put that in brackets. Times the height, 480 minus 200. So 480 minus 200. And then all of that divided by 2. I'm running out of space. I'm trying to squeeze this in. Let's continue the formula over here. 4.8 million plus 2 is 6.8 million. 6.8 million times 480 minus 200 is 280. It's going to be dollars divided by 2. And if you calculate that, that's going to work out to, guess what? $952 million. All right, so there is another and perhaps faster way to calculate the change in the producer's surplus. Here we clearly see that either way we arrive to the same answer. I would recommend use the trapezium formula. You're going to save some time on your exam. Okay, and that's it. That's the focus on this video. We've answered question B. We've calculated the change in producer surplus. It's increased by 952 million. In the next video, which will be linked below, we'll tackle question C, calculate the government import tariff revenue. This is a pretty fast and easy question, so look out for that. And that's it. If you have any questions, don't forget to comment those questions below, and don't forget to subscribe and to like. Thank you so much.